Shalom from Jerusalem. In our Bible reading plan, we see Job carrying on this dialogue with his three quote-unquote friends. And in Job 16, he tells them that they're miserable comforters. And frankly, I have to agree with him. They treated him pretty badly. These guys say that he was wicked and that he didn't trust God. In fact, they said if Job continued to hold fast his testimony of being a righteous person in spite of all that had happened to him, that he deserved even worse than what had already befallen him. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar were older age mates of Job, and with their life experience behind them, they should have understood better God's ways. In the end of the book, we'll read that God rebukes these three friends for not speaking truth about him, about his loving kindness, his goodness, and his faithfulness. In chapter 32, we see a younger man, his name is Elihu, join this dialogue. And it says that Elihu's anger burned against Job because he continued to justify himself. And his anger burned against the three older friends because they continued to assert that Job was in the wrong, even though they couldn't find an answer. Elihu's name means, "My God is He." And this young man was trying to reconcile in his own heart and mind God's righteousness and all the bad things that had happened in Job's life. Ultimately, God is beyond our ability to understand fully Him and His ways. In fact, He tells us in His Word, "My ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. They're way higher than yours." But one thing we can learn from life and from the Scriptures is that God is both loving and faithful. So whatever we face in life, we can trust that it's for our good. In fact, there's a phrase in Hebrew that says, "Gam zeh letovah." This too is for the good. And even when we can't possibly understand how that could be true with the trials we're facing, we can trust God's character. No matter what is happening in our lives, we can be sure and hold fast to that promise in Romans 8:28 that says, "And we know for certain that all things work together for good." All things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to His purpose. Job loved God and did his best to live according to His righteous standards. So when you face trials in life, remember Job's good example and trust in the Lord. Seek first the kingdom of God with all your heart, and you'll find God's support all the way through.